Again, my name is Marquise Murphy, and I'm with the Youth Educational Empowerment Program. Our team, the Teenview magazine, is excited to offer up this debate of the candidates for Wichita City Council District 1. Go ahead right now. Let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. Today's format is a little bit different than what you may have seen in the past with these guys. We're trying to do something a little bit different. Our team has worked hard to put this together, and we're excited that you're here. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Reagan King. She is our moderator for the day, and so without further ado, let's get it going.
All right, so we're going to get started with the debate. We'll start with opening statements for each of the candidates. So we're going to be starting with Mike Kennard. Each of you will have 2 minutes to prepare an opening statement for us and tell us why you're here.
Okay, good evening, and thank everybody for coming out. My name is Mike Kennard. Martin Luther King once said, "Do not judge me by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character." Now, issues can come and go, but a person's character, that usually stays the same. So I'm asking you to look a little deeper than the issues that are before us, but look at the legacy of what we actually provide this community. I've been in this community for over 30 years, volunteering with both volunteer boards, working on businesses, help developing small businesses. I've worked on the Wichita School Board as a board member and also as president. I have the experience to offer you. I have the knowledge to give you, and I look forward to having your vote on August 1st. We've got to come out and vote. The race is really going to be determined in this particular primary. I'll talk a little bit more about the issues when the issues come up, but at the last forum that we had, after the forum, there was a Facebook post saying, "Where's your plan? Where's your plan?" Well, let me show you. This community has plans. This is the McAdams neighborhood plan. This is the Central Northeast Wichita plan. This is the 21st Street revitalization plan, which I was a part of back in 2004. We have plans. We just have to implement our plans. The way this thing works is that we can come up with ideas today. They're not going to happen tomorrow. These plans are wrote back from 93, 2002, 2004, and then we keep updating them. That's how city government works. It doesn't turn on a dime. So be patient, but we actually have to have input into what we do. Again, my name is Mike Kennard. I need you to like Mike on August 1st. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. All right, we'll have Janet Wilson come up next, give our opening statement.
Good afternoon. My name is Janet Wilson, and I was born here in Wichita. I plan to be here till they put me in the ground here. I felt that when I was a youth, Wichita couldn't offer me anything. So I left, went to the big city, moved to New York, and became homesick. And when I came home, I found there was a lot of things lacking. And so I decided at that time to be the person that I wanted to see in my community. When they were raising houses and everything, I fought to stabilize that neighborhood because it looked like it had been a war in Lebanon. We had a lot of brownfields. People thought my neighborhood was a dump. The police wouldn't come. And a lot of it was given the perception that we didn't care about our neighborhood and we didn't want to do anything. So I became a neighborhood president. Then after I became a neighborhood president, I became a president of neighborhood presidents to affect the change that I wanted to see in my neighborhood. I've been working for a better quality of life, not only for myself, but for those around me. And I am part of the District Advisory Board, the Vicious Dog Advisory Council. I have went to school and obtained a master's degree so that I can be the one to work for my community. Thank you.
All right, John Stevens is up next.
My name is John Stevens, and I'm running for the City Council District 1. And I appreciate all of you coming out to listen to us today. I was born and raised in Wichita, Kansas. I've lived in District 1 most of my life, and I enjoy where I live. There are hamburger stands between Hillside and Oliver that you can't buy that much good food anywhere else in Wichita. So I'm here to stay. I'm retired basically, except for the community service work that I do. I have, for the last 18 months, I put one of these on a lot of the chairs. If you have it, I'll try to describe it. It is a chart showing most of the things you say about Wichita are good, and I believe in Wichita. I think Wichita's future, the best of it is ahead of us. The thing I want to say about this chart that I put here, this is something that needs to be fixed. And one of the reasons I'm running for this position is because the city manager said he didn't have enough money to fix it. Now, what is it? For 18 months, we studied the animal control department in Wichita, Kansas. And they don't want to hire any more animal control officers. But if you look at this chart, Wichita's over here where the red bar is, and we are the 10th worst city in the entire United States for dog bites of postal carriers. Now, what do? If a dog bites a postal carrier, it's a little complicated, but they'll move your mail back to the street, and then you have to go out and catch your mail. Like the postal delivery had to put up with the dog bites, you'll have to put up with the dogs chasing you. So at any rate, we need additional animal control officers, and it's a serious social problem to me. And I'll talk about it more later. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And finally, we'll have Brandon Johnson up next for an opening statement.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Johnson. Thank you to Teenview for hosting this and having us here so you can hear from the candidates. I'm running for Wichita City Council, District 1. And I'm running because I not only love Wichita, but I love District 1. I've grown up here in District 1. My wife and I are raising our children here in District 1, and I want to make sure that we can advance opportunity throughout District 1 like we've seen around Wichita. I'm running to make sure that our young people who play football at McAdams can keep football at McAdams. I'm running to make sure we can develop the McAdams neighborhood so that the pool can thrive once again. I'm running to make sure we advance opportunities like we see in the Douglas Design District in College Hill on 13th Street, Central, 9th Street, and 17th Street. The goal is to make sure that we have the same opportunities and we can realize our American dream, and so that our young people have those opportunities. I've spent my life working in this community, from neighborhood cleanups to serving on the juvenile justice and Delinquency Prevention Board on the state level, appointed by 3 governors, Governor Sebelius, Governor Parkinson, and Governor Brownback, to make sure that our young people have a second chance even if they make a mistake. I've served the last 2 years on the District 1 Advisory Board to make sure that our neighborhoods got the focus that they needed. And again, our campaign is about bringing the focus back to the neighborhoods. We've seen a lot of expansion in Wichita, both east and west, and a lot of attention downtown, but oftentimes we get overlooked. And it's time to change that, and I'm asking for your vote on August 1st to make sure that we bring that attention back, that we provide opportunities for our young people, and we build the business climate in District 1. Thank you. Woo!
All right, so that concludes introduction statements. We will now move into our phases for the debate. We'll be starting with phase 1, which will be general questions for all of you to answer, and we'll be starting with Janet Wilson on those. You will each get a minute to answer the question. Once your minute is out, I will say time. All right, and the first question is, in your opinion, what are the most pressing issues in District 1 today?
In my opinion, the most pressing issues is safety, economic development, and education. Safety, because if no one feels safe, no one wants to live here. Businesses won't relocate here. Businesses won't develop here. And education is the key. We have to have a trained workforce in order for the people to draw from, in order to build a more vibrant community. Also, economic development goes in tied with that, because if people don't feel safe, they won't locate here. You can't build a business where you're not safe, and if you're not educated, you can't get the job. Thank you.
Thank you. John Stevens, you're up next. And I will repeat the question. Your opinion, what are the most pressing issues in District 1?
Well, as I said in my introduction, dog bites of postal carriers is a serious problem in several places in the city, but it's exceptionally bad in District 1. And the appointment of some additional animal control officers to stop this running at large. We need to stop these dogs from pestering. Not only, we have 15 dog bites so far this year of postal carriers. And last year we had like 800 and something dog bites of citizens. To me, that's a serious problem. Also, like Janet, we don't have enough police officers. We need 49 more police officers, according to a recent study in the city of Wichita, and 24 additional support personnel. So I would hope that we could get some of these problems. The real problem is bringing the money from downtown back out to the neighborhood.
Thank you. All right, Brandon Johnson, you're up next. And again, in your opinion, what are the most pressing issues in District 1?
The most pressing issue, in my opinion, and from what I've heard in the community, is economic development. As we're looking at wanting more investment in District 1, we've got to be able to create that revenue to invest here, which means we need that living wage job opportunity. When you look at zip codes like 67214, where there's 56% unemployment, jobs are the key, and jobs located in District 1 so that we can hire from the neighborhoods and pay people from the neighborhoods to improve our neighborhoods. Again, as we want to see more sustainable transit, that's going to cost revenue, and we need to have our business climate in District 1 ready to do that. As we want to see summer youth employment, again, economic development. So the key issue to me in District 1, and from what I've heard of the community, is economic development, and in other words, jobs, 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 but good paying jobs. And looking at long-term careers that provide long-term financial stability for our families to build equity and grow our community.
Mike Kennard, in your opinion, what are the most pressing issues in District 1?
Well, again, I hate to kind of repeat what's already been heard, but public safety is important, education is important, and of course, economic development is important. It's just how do we get there? We must partner with our community partners in order to get there. So far as funding our police officers and our fire department, we must do more of the innovative things that we must do before we actually raise the mill levy to do that with. With the public transit, we must break the model that we have now and be more innovative. Up in Lawrence, they partner with the school, the University of Kansas and the city of Lawrence partner together, where all their students actually ride the bus free with their student pass. Why can't we do something similar here? We just have to have partnerships and collaborations in order to rebuild our public transit system. Thank you very much.
All right. We are going to continue phase 1 with another general question for all. And give me just a second, actually. Do you just want to do it? Okay. All right. And we'll just keep rotating questions again. So we'll have Janet Wilson come up once more. And the second question that I will be addressing to you all, again, you will have a minute to answer it. So how do you plan to finance increased police presence in our neighborhoods?
That's a two-part question, right? How do I plan to finance and police presence in our neighborhoods?
Yeah, well, how do you plan to finance increased police presence?
The plan is to look at the budget. The 2018-2019 budget is out. It's on the internet, wichita.gov. But if we look at that budget, in 2020, we will have a shortfall. What we need to look at is where to cut costs, ways to cut costs, and then, and only if then, we have done our due diligence, is to increase 1 mill levy to increase the finances to support, and those finances are dedicated to the police department. Now, keep in mind, we haven't had a mill levy increase in over 20 years. So at this point, it may be time to do that, but those would be dedicated funds strictly for the police department.
All right. John Stevens. And the question again is, how do you plan to finance increased police presence in our neighborhoods?
Well, we just decided to give Cargill $20 million. I love economic development, but I would like to see us have some intelligent negotiators at the city. They just seem like they have to continue to give money away. Let me tell you about Cargill. I worked for Charles Koch for 2 years, and Cargill was bigger than the Koch Industries. Now, is there anything wrong with that? No. But that'd be like giving $20 million to Charles Koch. Do all of you have any idea how big Charles Koch is? He's going to give $200 to $300 million away to politicians. Why should we have our money in Wichita given away to an outfit like Cargill when they want to be here anyway? We didn't do a very good job of negotiating. Yes, we need the police officers. Yes, there's other ways to finance that. And the things they're doing downtown in our city are excessive.
Thank you. All right. And then Johnson again, how do you plan to finance increased police presence in our neighborhoods?
First, we need to wait and see what the city manager's review is of the budget. He's doing the top to bottom review right now to see where there's excessive spending and see where there's some wiggle room to invest. We need to look at that. Where there's wiggle room, we need to see if we can allocate those resources to law enforcement. And then if not, the final option is to raise the mill levy. Now, I've been a proponent of community safety, making sure we have increased neighborhood policing, which in my view is getting officers out of the vehicles, getting to know the community, going to small businesses, and getting to know the business owners. That way we know officers on a first name basis. Right now, officers go in, they clock in, and they go call to call to call to call, which is not able to allow them to do the community policing that we need in our community and that we want. So if we had to raise the mill levy after looking at all the alternatives, then I would support doing so because I believe your children and my children's safety is important, and I want to make sure our kids are safe.
Mike Bernard, how do you plan to finance increased police presence in our neighborhoods?
Yeah, I'm limping because I got the gout. So I'm not crippled up here, I'm just a little swollen. The city has just certain opportunities to actually generate income, and taxes, unfortunately, is our biggest way of doing that. But before we do that, we have to make sure we look under every stone and make sure we're being innovative with the budget, looking at other things that we can do to actually provide safety to our community. Because District 1 wants the same thing that all the other districts want. First of all, we want a quick response time. If one of our businesses call, if they're down on 17th and Grove, they want the same response time if it's over here at Clifton Square and College Hill. Those are the things that we demand in our community. But we, in order to get that, we do have to pay for that. So increasing our police officers in our community with community policing is necessary. But before we raise the mill levy, let's make sure that it is going to be an adequate increase to not only do our police department, but also our fire department.
All right. Thank you, candidates. We will be moving into the phase 2, which are more general questions. They will specifically address each candidate, and if another candidate has something that they would like to respond to that, or I guess propose a rebuttal to the candidate's previous response, they will be able to do so. So the first candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer the question that I will give them, and then another candidate will have a 30-second opportunity to form a rebuttal if they wish to do so. So again, we're going to be starting with Janet Wilson. And the question for you, I will actually wait till you get to the podium. All right. Your question, which you'll have 1.5 minutes to respond to. So are you working on a way to improve transportation services in District 1? And if so, what are some of the plans you wish to implement?
Well, I'm actually on the Transportation Advisory Board, and we have thought of very innovative ways in order to increase transportation in the city of Wichita. But keep in mind, the city of Wichita has to make transportation a priority, and they have not done so. They have not given adequate budget to support what the needs of the city is. We have no way of building capacity, which means we can't extend hours from 6 to 12 so that the people on second shift can get to work in a timely manner. And we have no way to come in early and strengthen those hours so that people on third shift can get home. And so we have to look at innovative ways, and they have done some out-of-the-box thinking with Uber, Lyft. They've started point-to-point in the Northeast Quadrant where people can pay $5 on a Saturday, and it'll take them to Walmart. It will take them other various places in that route where they can go and purchase food and items for quality of life issues. And so we're working there. We're looking at opportunities. Unfortunately, and I hate to be the one to say this, but we are losing our transit director. And so we'll be back looking at all those plans and all those surveys and all those suggestions again.
Thank you. All right. John Stevens, you're up next. Does anybody have a rebuttal to Ms. Wilson's answer? Awesome. All right, John Stevens, your question. I'll have a minute and a half to respond. How are you working to bring the low-income communities to grocery stores that provide access to produce and affordable food prices?
I know that at Grove and 13th Street, we have a grocery store that the community supported to help take care of the food desert. I know that we had a grocery store, one out at 13th and Oliver. I don't know why it closed, but if they couldn't make it economically, they didn't have any choice but to close it up. I don't know what the pricing is in the grocery market, but it's not as big as it is in other industries. But you just about have to have someone that's in the free market system bring that to you. Now, I'm all for seeing if the community, in terms of city government, could contact people and give them a space and time for their farmers market type delivery, and giving them a place where they could show up and deliver food products that are reasonably priced. I'm not necessarily for government programs, but in this instance, if we can't get someone to move into the neighborhood on a free will basis because of the economics, then maybe we should support a program where they can come to town on certain times and make that available to citizens.
Thank you. And I will now open up the floor for anybody who would like to respond to that answer. Awesome. Okay, Brandon Johnson, you're up next. All right, you have a minute and a half to respond to this question. The question is, how are you working to have transparency in government?
So, for a number of years now, I've done my best to do some research on what's going on, not only in city government, but county government, state government, federal government. And as I'm doing that, I try to hold workshops with my organization CORE, Community Operations Recovery Empowerment. It's an organization we started 6.5 years ago. And when we find out about something, we try to hold a workshop and talk about it. Some of our more prominent workshops have been around what's going on with law enforcement. So talking about what you have seen recently in the news, the gang file. So up until this year, if you were on that gang file, you couldn't get off. And there was over 5,000 Wichitans on the gang file. So we wanted to get Lieutenant Gilmore out into the community to talk to the community about that. Right now, that video is still online, facebook.com/Core of Wichita. You can watch the whole workshop and presentation over the gang file. We wanted to make sure the community was informed about it, that they can engage those in power and talk about that and learn about it. What we also did was offer the opportunity for feedback. So 2 parents in the workshop talked about the unfairness of their juveniles being on the gang file and parents not knowing. So we've seen actual progress, letters going out to the parents of those juveniles. They've been notified, and now parents are responding, and those juveniles can actually get off of the gang file. That was not possible until this year. So that's what I've been doing in transparency. That's the type of work I want to continue to do as a city councilman for District 1.
response to that?
Okay, I'm here.
All right, Mike Kennard would like to respond.
I find it very ironic that Mr. Johnson talks about transparency, and yet our financial reports were due on Monday, and yet he hasn't been transparent enough to file his report. I just want to know, what is he hiding? Is there something out there that we need to see or not see? So if you believe in transparency, I think it starts with your campaign.
Okay. And Mike Kennard, I'm going to invite you back up to the podium so you can answer your minute and a half question. And your question is, what do you propose we do for youth entertainment throughout your district?
Youth entertainment for our district, well, that could be a variety of things. I think it starts with our recreation and with McAdams Park. There is League 42 that has invested thousands of dollars into the park. We can develop that and continue to move forward on that. Not only with that, we also have a park called Stryker Soccer Complex, where they're proposing to move the football games to one location. Now you got to understand what's happening with our football program. Right now you have Grove Park, Linwood Park, McAdams Park, all these different parks, and they go to these football fields by grade. So if I have 3 different kids in 3 different grades, I got to drive from one side of town to the other side of town just to watch my child play. If we put that in a central location and build a complex, that will not only help the parents here locally, but now we're an economic draw that bring regional tournaments here. And then we bring regional tournaments here that boosts the community as a whole. Next weekend, we're going to have MAYB National Basketball. Same idea. They're bringing over 800 teams to Wichita. Last year, LeBron James' son played in this tournament. This is what we can do for our youth. This is what we can do for our community to bring economic development to our community by bringing youth, be the youth mecca of sports. So I'm all for bringing economic development to our youth.
Thank you.